we're back. And for those of you who are wondering, the book I threw looks fine. And I told Jose that if I had ripped the cover or anything, I'd buy it, I'd pay for it, and then just go home and line a bird cage with it. But it's fine. So, Lori, if you just happen to be watching this segment, your book is fine. I apologize for getting carried away there. Anyway. I want to get back to viewer comments. Because we had some good stuff being said. And one of my favorite comments came from, another favorite comment came from Truth for Power when we were talking about Terrence Howard being fired from the Iron Man series. Truth for Power says, I've got an idea. Why don't you get a little more negative on everybody and everything?
He did put LOL, right?
He did put LOL, yes, I know. That's why I'm laughing. And actually, I know he was joking there, but guess what? You got your wish. As far as the race thing, I agree. In Hollywood, they hire only a handful of black actors for every role. See Samuel Jackson and Will Smith. Switching Howard for Cheadle is like replacing Kirsten Dunst with Pamela Anderson. Except for the fact that they both check African American on the census, meaning Will Smith and Samuel L. Jackson. They have no similarities. Only an LAPD officer would confuse the two. I'm going to assume that Truth for Power, that you are a man of color, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. You just, I guess, in Hollywood, they think black actors are interchangeable. You can just, put one in any role. Kirsten Dunst and Pamela Anderson are two opposite sides. I mean, and you know why. One's got big boobs, the other one doesn't. One's a redhead, and one has a big head and is a redhead while the other one's blonde. So you can't just do that.
No, and it is, I mean, we talked about this in the last segment when we were talking about Iron Man movies. Like, Cheadle is a great, I think Cheadle is one of the best actors out there. And I love the movies that he does. And but I don't think that you can swap Terrence Howard out with him.
No.
Because Terrence Howard kind of had this, I don't know, he just had the build for Rhodes, and he looked like he could have been in the military, and he just kind of had this presence about him, where I don't think that Cheadle is going to be able to exude that presence in that armor without looking like a goof.
And and I also have a personal preference for Terrence Howard because he just has a sense of empathy about him. And yeah, there was a lot of very subtle work that he did in his portrayal of Rhodes in the first Iron Man movie, where when you bring Don Cheadle in, he has a different presence about him, and he's going to bring a different aspect to the character. Again, nothing against Don Cheadle, but let's face it, you sold me Terrence Howard as Rhodes, and now I bought it, and now you're going to switch him out on me, and that's annoying, That's
Did you hear why they switched them?
I thought it was just a money issue.
It was a money issue because I was reading, I guess Terrence Howard was the first person to sign on for Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
So they agreed to give him a lot of money, and when it came to renegotiate his contract for the second movie, they didn't want to pay him what they did for the first movie. And that's what it came down to, was that they thought they overpaid him for the first movie. No. And in order to get...
but that first movie made a lot of box office.
Well, it did, and that's what I don't understand. I mean, how greedy can you get? Like, over a money issue? That's why you're not going to re-sign a guy? I mean, the guy was the first guy to sign on for the original Iron Man movie before, what's his name? Downey Jr. even said he was going to be in it. And that's how, the guy was on board, and you're going to disrespect the guy who signed up right away, like, by not paying him what you paid him in the last movie and just shitting all over him, because, to me that doesn't make it was Hollywood. Nothing makes sense in Hollywood.
Well, no, the movie studios have proven already that they have no souls. Again, we talked about this last time. The Watchmen debacle with Fox and Warner Brothers going into the whole thing over distribution of it, and which have you seen? Now it looks like Warner Brothers and Fox are going to settle out of court. So Warner Brothers is going to have to give Fox a whole ton of money so that they can distribute the movie that they've invested all this money in. And it pisses me off because, again, these are things that people who are money counters, who work in the offices that, in the finances, they can rationalize it. They can rationalize why we need to go to court over this. We can rationalize why we have to charge all this money for this. It becomes very mercenary, and yeah, it's a business, but there is an art in there too, and the art is being disrespected. When you have an artist, an actor like Terrence Howard being disrespected, as you said, over an issue of money, that offends me. And I don't think the guy was asking for Tom Cruise money.
No, I don't think he was.
Okay? I don't think so. And when, movie studios, go and disrespect the fans, like the head of Fox said about the Wolverine movie, where a lot of folks are complaining about what's happening, and the head of Fox basically said, "Oh, fuck the fans. We already have their money." That's
what I think Marvel is saying, like at their offices. I mean, we've talked about that before. I think that's paying $3.99 for books, and we talked that comic fans are going to do it, and I think that's what it is. They're going to raise their prices, and they're going to be like, "Fuck them. We got their money." That's what all these #1 issues I think are about. The $3.99. They're throwing extra shit in there that no one needs, and fuck them. We got their money.
Okay, so yeah, and part of me wants to believe that it's just people backed into a corner and thinking that that's what they got to do so they can survive. But I want to believe in the essential goodness of people, and I also want to believe in that the people who work at comic book companies are really good people. I mean, they are good people. Okay, I'm going to say that because I know a lot of folks who work for the two big companies and a couple people work in the smaller companies. They love comics. I don't think they are going out of their way to alienate folks. But there are decisions that are being made right now that just aren't being clearly explained to the fan base so that we can understand why they're doing what they're doing. Okay? If Marvel would come out and say, this is why we put all this reprint material in the back, instead of letting Jeff Loeb go on Word Balloon and say, well, everyone asked why we were putting that story in the back. Well, now you know. That is just really disrespectful of fans. And especially the fans that you're asking to plunk down those dollars every week. Every week. So, wow, that was weird. We went from one to the other back there. How do we do that? We're crazy.
Yeah.
We're going to come back in the next segment with Last Rants. We hope you come back and join us.